Hey, so I wanted to chat a little bit about why I personally am enjoying Diablo 4 more than I've enjoyed Path of Exile, at least recently. I know that that's not the popular opinion. It seems that if you go on YouTube, you're going to find a lot of thumbnails of people who have fallen out of love with Diablo 4 already, saying it's a dead game or saying that the next season's not going to really do much or it's coming too early. And I'm not a Blizzard simp. I'm not gonna white knight Diablo here. Just me personally, there are a couple fundamental core game design points that Diablo decided to go with that break away from the pack leader Path of Exile right now, that I think for me personally make the game a little bit more enjoyable, and it's allowed me to stick around a little bit longer than I would have. So the number one point for me that nudges Diablo ahead of Path of Exile is finding gear. So in Path of Exile, if you haven't played this before, there are really two major versions of the game. There is solo self-found, which, if that's not obvious enough, it's that you play by yourself and you can only get items that you yourself find or craft. You cannot trade with other players. And then there's by far the majority of the players in Trade League, which is you find and trade things with currency as much as you want. Because of the way that the player base has funneled into Trade League, GGG, which is the makers of Path of Exile, they balance the game around that perspective. And the drop rates for crucial items for many strong builds are so rare that you're forced to trade for them. You're not realistically going to find them. And people who enjoy solo self-found, they understand that fact, and they restrict themselves to a small subset of builds that are strong enough every season that don't require very rare unique items to be able to piece the build together. I don't want a restricted set of builds, right? And I also don't like the fact that when I play Path of Exile and I pick up a rare, I almost never even look at it, right? I skip. If a legendary drops, I'm not excited. I honestly think that it's garbage off the bat. My default assumption is this is a tier, 4, whatever the lowest tier is, garbage. And there's no perspective of farming other than I am gathering enough currency to buy an item from somebody else who found the thing that I need. And I just really don't enjoy that. I already have a job, right, that I farm real life currency for. And when I play a video game, there needs to be something exciting about it. For me, I enjoy loot games where I'm finding cool pieces of loot and my build's coming together. I can watch it get stronger. Where in Path of Exile, even if you watch the top videos are people showing you how to farm currency faster. Now, I'm not trying to dump on Path of Exile, and I understand the company's called Grinding Gear Games. So this is their vision, and that's what they are going for, and there's many people who enjoy it, but I don't really like doing that every season, right? Every season I'm going to find a new strategy to farm currency faster so I can buy the item from somebody else. That's just not really doing it for me recently. In Diablo 4, they don't have nearly as many builds or build diversity. They don't have nearly as many items, but I have found every item that I need for my build. Obviously, the downside to that is if there's a very rare item that is required for the build that you want to play, having something similar to Trade League would fix that. But again, they could start balancing it around, based on having 3 million people playing the game, we want this many people to have this ridiculously rare item. So like how Diablo 3, I'm old, but when Diablo 3 released, there was a real money auction house. And what it did is, because of them needing to balance the market of these items. They made good items incredibly rare so that when you played the game, there was no chance. You didn't even intend to find the items that you needed. You're going to play this auction house game. And if they introduce trade like that back into Diablo 4, they are very, in my opinion, they're very skeptical about people saying that that's not going to affect the health of the game. And I think that they're right. And I like finding the items that I use in my builds in ARPGs. I liked how Diablo 3 did it. So that is the core fundamental mechanic around the game design of Diablo 4 that makes me enjoy it a little bit better. That being said, there are some downsides, right? And this is a lot about how long the game's been in development, the maturity of the game. PoE has an enormous head start, but it really does sort of feel like to me that after you reach World Tier 4 difficulty, there's not a lot of motivation to continue playing the game, right? You already have a build that's strong enough to beat the capstone dungeon, and you're running the same nightmare dungeons over and over. They're more annoying because of the scaling. And what are you doing it for? You need to get ancestral versions of the gear that you already have. Okay, I already experienced what it's like. I just play a lower tier and I see exactly what it's like once I get top tier gear. And I understand that there's Uber Lilith and there's people who, they're very, very interested in killing that, but the time commitment to get to level 100 for that one experience, it's a little much to ask. I'm not personally interested in doing something like that, but to each their own. But for me, that's a little bit of a knock. And obviously, Path of Exile's, had endgame development for I don't know how many seasons it is now, 13 or something. So Diablo 4 is going to get more endgame stuff, and it'll fix that incentive, the carrot on the stick, to reach level 100, hopefully. But for now, just getting Paragon points every once in a while, take it or leave it. And the last point I wanted to make in Diablo's favor is them ditching potions. Now, I know in the leveling experience, particularly for classes like Druid, the resource starvation pattern is very annoying, and I completely agree with that. But not having flasks or potions is fantastic to me. I hate flasks in Path of Exile. I think it is so dumb. The fact that there's 5 is really a big problem too. If there are 1 or 2, that'd be fine for me. And, don't jump down my throat. I know lots of people like flasks and mage blood or whatever is cool, but I don't like them. I think that they suck. I want to press my damage abilities. I don't want to press my, potions that I drink. I think it's dumb. And Diablo 4 ditching them completely, I am team that. I think potions are old school and I don't have fun with them. So the elixirs, I don't count that as a potion. I think that that's another fun little buff or whatever that I have no problem with. Take it or leave it, but no potions, 2 thumbs up. So for now, I am going to stick with Diablo 4. When the next Path of Exile League comes out, I'll try it out, but I think Diablo 4's foundation has promise for me.